Hello and welcome, Dr. Al here, presenting some Slay the Spire. This is a new game my brother told me about. A lot of fun, has some elements from a lot of games that I enjoy. FTL from the sort of metagame of being able to plan your route but not quite knowing what encounter you're going to face. A little bit of Binding of Isaac as well, just from the main sort of idea of trying to become stronger and stronger as the run comes by, because the enemies that you're going to be facing will be that much tougher. And a lot of fun, maybe a little bit of Hearthstone thrown in the mix as well, just because you're working with cards that have sort of different mana costs, and you're emphasizing the importance of 0 mana cards that you can play. It's not really any of those games per se, but it has small elements from each, and without further ado, let's get started. When you start the game, you have access to this one melee character, and then once you beat the game once, or you play it a few times to get the unlock, you can unlock this second character here. But we'll start with the default character here for now, the Ironclad. Starts off with 80 HP, has 99 gold. Basically, his innate ability is this Burning Blood, which is at the end of each combat he heals for 6 HP. HP is really important in this game, even more so with the other character, the Silent, who doesn't have an innate regain HP ability. But even with the Ironclad, you're going to see it's very important that we keep our HP up. And I'd say the next most important stat is the energy. But you'll see what I mean once we get started. So we'll embark. To get started, this sort of weird whale creature says hello. If you beat the run the last time, or at least killed one of the main bosses, he'll give you something extra to start your new campaign with. So what he'll do this time for us, and it's random each time what the rewards are, he'll either remove a card from our deck, increase our max HP plus 8 to get us to 88 HP, or we can lose all of our gold and obtain a rare card, which I assume we'll have a choice between 3 of them to pick. Our deck right now has 10 cards. It has 5 of these strike cards that are sort of 1 mana cost each that deal 6 damage. We have 4 defend cards, 1 mana each, that do 5 block. And we have this, our sort of strongest card is this 2 mana bash, which will deal 8 damage and apply 2 vulnerable. And what vulnerable does to an enemy is, for those 2 turns, it takes 50% more damage from attacks. So this is a pretty nice card. So what we could do is we could remove a card, maybe get rid of one of the defends or one of the strikes, and by doing that, we make it more likely that we get our bash. Because once all the cards are, once you play or use all the cards, the deck recycles. So this would sort of enrich our deck more for bash. Gaining HP is always nice. Max HP of 88 would be very useful, but it doesn't give us any extra cards or abilities. And then getting a rare card, even at the cost of 99, might be worth it, but it's sort of the luck of the draw. It depends on which cards we get access to. The boring choice might be to get HP, but let's do the fun choice. Let's lose our gold and get a rare card. And we have double tap, which is you can your next attack is played twice. This could be useful. This says whenever a card is exhausted, we draw a card, and that's a power that we would have active. And then this last one is double our strength and exhaust, and right now we don't have any cards that increase our strength, so this was actually not that good. Let's go with double tap for now. We might make some use of it later, and that's just sort of the way that this game works. Very unforgiving. One small mistake and you could be destroyed. So this is the sort of what I was talking about when I was saying it's a little bit like FTL. You can pick one of these paths, and this path over here is pretty defined. There's these little faces are the sort of regular monster fights, and then there are some elites who have these extra horns, which are much tougher to get to. The question mark are random encounters. You could either face a random enemy, there could be a shop, or it could be something where you get a lot of text, and then you have 1 or 2 or 3 different choices to pick from. And anyway, I think those are very interesting, and they could improve your character in interesting ways as well. So I'm going to prioritize getting those question marks. If we go this route, we'll have a few more question marks, but we'll avoid the bonfire, which is also very useful. This is a place where you can rest, recover HP, or upgrade a card in your deck. So I think we'll take this pathway here, and let's start with our first boss, or rather our first regular encounter. So the neat thing about the game is the enemies, you know how much HP they have, and you also know what their next move is going to be. So in this case, this enemy is going to do a buff. That means it's not going to attack us this turn, so we could use all of our mana, not worrying about defending ourselves, but just going all out and trying to kill this guy. So with our 3 energy, we could use our 2 mana bash. This will do 8 damage, and more importantly, make the enemy vulnerable and so susceptible to even more damage. So we'll go ahead and use that. So dealt 8 damage, it's vulnerable for 2 turns, this turn and next turn, and we could do a strike, which instead of doing 6 damage will now do 9. And there we go. Now we'll see what the enemy does. Now we know it's going to do a buff, and the buff that it's going to do is called Incantation. And what this does is, I think each turn it gains 3 strength, which is basically all of its attacks will become more powerful with each turn. So we want to prioritize killing this very quickly. Now, we know that this turn it's going to attack and do 6 damage to us. So it's probably worth playing a block. We'll get 5 block with this defend. So we'll only be hit for 1 damage, and that's fine because at the end of each encounter we recover 6 health. So we don't want to get beat up too badly, but as long as we get under 6 worth of damage, we're going to recover all of that. And then with our next 2, we could do attack and attack. Now the alternative would have been to maybe do another attack, and instead of the defend, he would have been down to 3 health, and we would have eaten 6 damage instead of 1, but we were probably had good odds of then doing another strike and killing off this cultist. But anyway, this is what we did, so let's see what happens. Alright, enemy does the 6 damage, we're down to 79, no problem. Vulnerable has worn off, and now it's much stronger too, so we're really incentivized to try to kill it right away. And we're lucky because this will do 8. And this will do the rest of the damage. This will do 9. We only needed 6, and the cultist is now dead. We recovered all of our health. We got some gold for beating this regular boss or regular enemy, and with each the most important thing is we get an additional card to add to our deck. So we could do a 1 mana deal damage equal to your current block. Very interesting. We could do a headbutt, which will do 9 damage, and it can also place a card from the discard pile on top of our draw pile, which is also very powerful. And this will do 12 damage and apply to weak, and what that does is it'll make the creatures that have weak deal 25% less damage, which is also very useful. So these are both excellent cards. I really like prioritizing the lower mana just because it's more versatile to be able to use it, so we'll use the headbutt for now, you know, either one of those 2 choices would have been great. So let's move on to our next encounter, where we fight this Jawworm that has 43 health. Now its first move is going to be to deal 11 damage to us, so we definitely want to defend at least 5 so that we only get hit for 6. And I'm actually just going to play very conservatively and defend 10, so we only get 1 bit of damage, which again we can recover after the encounter is done. Alright, so we get hit for 11, block 10 of that. Now we can do, so now it's going to do a block as well as a buff. So it's not going to attack us in any way, so we should use all 3 of our energy to just go all out and attack. We don't need to block. And since we did the head what was that? Some sort of bash. Let's get the bash back. That'll be very useful for us. So the headbutt let us look into our discard pile and pick a card, and we were able to get the bash back, which I think will serve us well. So that's it for this turn. Let's see what happens. So Bellow, so it gains strength, which means its next attack will be stronger, as well as some shielding. So now it has 16 health, but we have to get through the 6 shield, so it has effectively 22 health. And also it's going to attack for 14, so if we block, we can block 10 of that. So let's do that. And that leaves us with just 1 energy, so we can't use Bash, and we have to use Strike to get rid of its shielding. All of the cards, regardless of whether or not you use them, will end up in your discard pile. The only exception are some cards that say exhaust, which after using will just disappear for that battle. So we're going to take 4 more damage, and that's okay. So we can still take 1 more point of damage and recover all of it, and still be fine. So it has 16 health. Even though it's going to attack us for 10, if we kill it right away, it won't matter. So with 3 strikes, that'll deal 18 damage, and the Jawworm is dead. And we got all of our health back. Terrific. And our next card is going to be, it's a Perfected Strike. We'll do 6 damage, and then +2 for every card in our deck that says Strike, which right now are, there's 5 additional cards that say Strike on them. So that would mean that this will do 16 points of damage for 2 mana, which is pretty good. This one will do 14, and then the strength stat will work 3 times. We don't have anything that gives us strength right now. Might be a good card for the future, but this will give us more right away, and this will give us 5 block and will allow us to upgrade a card in our hand for the rest of combat. Again, very useful skill as well. Helps shore up our block, and also will make one of our other cards stronger. Also 1 mana, which I like. I think we'll go ahead and pick that. And that's what I like also, the ability to, you know, you have to make these important choices and try to craft a deck for whatever you're going, you know, whatever the game gives you. Trying to make the choices to construct a deck that will be unfair in some way for your, give you some advantage. Let's see our first encounter now, next to this unknown. As you come to a dead end and begin to turn around, walls slam down from the ceiling, trapping you. 3 phases materialize from the walls and speak. Forget what you know and I'll let you go. I require change to see a new space. If you want to pass me, then you must grow. So we could either remove a card from our deck, again, trying to get rid of cards that aren't that useful, to try to enrich the better cards that we have. I think it's not necessary to do that right now. We can transform a card, which basically will just turn it into some other random card. I think the best choice is to upgrade a card in our deck. So what this will do is, and we can see what the upgrades, you know, will do before confirming that. So double tap, we can upgrade, and what it will do is it'll still be 1 mana, but it'll make the next 2 turns that we play get dealt twice. So that could be very useful under the right circumstances. The headbutt will just increase the damage to 12, but it'll do the same effect. Armaments will, we gain 5 block and will upgrade every card in our hand for the rest of the combat. That looks very good. The bash upgrade will go from 8 damage and 2 vulnerable to 10 and 3, which is also pretty amazing. The defense would go from 5 to 8 block, and the strikes from 6 to 9. Honestly, they're all excellent choices, but I really want to try this upgrading the armaments to try to see what the effect of upgrading all the cards in my hand will do for me as we go on. So go ahead and do that. Satisfy the walls in front of you merge back into the ceiling, leaving a path forward. And let's move on to our next encounter with this regular enemy. So this guy is a slaver with 49 health. He's going to do 7 points of damage as well as some sort of negative effect on us. We don't have, unfortunately, anything that can, defend, and that's just sort of the luck of the draw. We just ended up with all sorts of strike cards. So if we do the double tap, we would spend 3 mana to do 18 damage. Doesn't seem that useful. We could just do 3 strikes as well. Let's do the bash and try to just kill this enemy as quickly as possible. I think that makes the most sense. Now we're going to get hit for 7, so we won't be at perfect health. We may even lose more damage. And the enemy's debuff also is weakened, so instead of dealing 9 damage, or whatever damage this headbutt was, I believe it was 9, we deal 25% less damage for this turn. Again, so it's going to do 12 points of damage. We could defend 10 of them. Let's use this armaments first, though, and what this will do is, by itself, it gives us 5 block, but it'll also upgrade the rest of the cards. So by upgrading, now this block will do 8 instead of 5, and we could absorb all of the damage and not get any further loss in HP. And we'll do the headbutt, and try to recover a card. And I'm torn between taking Bash or trying Armaments again. Let's take Armaments. I really like it. It's probably our best card right now. So now we're going to defend. We're going to have 13 block, and so this way we're not going to get any damage, which is very nice. And Vulnerable has worn off, so and we were very lucky to get Armaments again, so let's use it. Let's use a block as well, so now we're not going to get hit. And obviously 12 does more damage than 9, so we'll use that, and we will get Armaments back, I think. That's probably the best choice. So we'll just tank all of this and not get any damage, and now we just have to do 7 points worth of damage to win this round. So we can just do a Bash, and we're done. Alright, so we're down to just -1 HP, and I think that's perfectly fine. So you get HP back either of those campfires. You get, I think, 25% of your max HP, something like that. We'll see. And then when you beat the final boss for each floor, and there are 3 floors, you will recover all of your health if you win. But anyway, we have a choice to make. We can either gain 7 block and exhaust a random card in our hand, which seems a little bit scary. We may not want to exhaust any good cards, but at the same time we could exhaust selectively cards that aren't as strong, so this is interesting. We do Anger, which is takes 0 mana, deals 4 damage, and places a copy of this card into our discard pile. So we'll end up with more Anger cards as we go on, especially in a longer fight. Or Inflame, and this will give us 2 strength, and this is basically strength. If an attack was to do, let's say, 4 damage and we had 2 strength, it would do 6 damage. And this is a permanent effect for the rest of the round after we play the card. So let's go ahead and use that, and go on to our next enemy encounter. Alright, now we're facing Fungi Beast and Acid Slime, medium. And unfortunately, they're both attacking us, and besides the Armaments that gives us 5 block, we don't have any other blocks. That's okay. I still think it's worth trying to minimize the damage we get, and this will make the strikes also stronger. The effect that this does upon killing it is it'll make us vulnerable for 2 turns, so that's why I want to prioritize maybe killing this Acid Slime first. I think it'll be better to have this enemy destroyed before we deal with this Spore Cloud. So now we're going to take 13 minus 5, 8 points of damage, and still not unreasonable. And this also, very interesting, this attack gave us a wound, and a wound is an unplayable card that just takes up space. So each turn, I guess, in this battle, we get 5 cards. And so we may end up with a card like this. This is just sort of a placeholder, makes our deck less good for the fight. So just something to watch out for. One wound isn't a big deal, but they could add up. So now what we can do is we're going to get hit again. If we kill the slime, we do 10 points of damage to it. We can stop that 10 from getting to us. So I think it's an important thing to be able to do that. We can also do this double tap headbutt, and what that will do is deal 18 points of damage with just 2 cards. And then we can do a defend. All interesting choices. The inflame, the good thing about it is we can do inflame headbutt, and that'll do 11 points of damage, which is all we need. And it'll give us the 2 strength for the rest of this battle. So I think we'll go ahead and do that. Inflame, so now we have 2 extra strength. All of our attacks will do 2 more damage. Kill the slime. Let's get our Armaments card back. And with our last HP, we could do 5 block and negate most of the damage that we're going to get from this beast. Alright. Not a bad little round. In this round, it's not going to attack us, it's just going to do it a buff. So let's... we could do 10 with the bash and make it vulnerable, and then instead of dealing 8, we would deal 12. So we could do 22 points of damage. Do Armaments... I think I like this the best, and now all we need is just any card that does any little bit of damage and we'll win. Assuming that, yeah, so the buff was grow, and this gave this creature strength, but it won't matter because, oh, it does matter in fact, because we don't have an attack card. That's okay, we can absorb this damage. So we have 15 worth of block. The wound card, like you saw, is just sort of a placeholder. It gives us less choices. But anyway, we'll absorb this. We won't take any damage to our HP, and then hopefully we'll just get a card that does a little bit of attack and win. All right, there we go. Again, not too bad. Our HP is near maximum. Alright, so for this we could do Twin Strike, which will do 5 damage twice, 10 worth of damage with 1 mana, pretty good. We do War Cry, which will give us some card draw, and then place a card from your hand on top of your draw pile so that we could use it for our next turn. So that's pretty interesting. You could do some tactics with that. And we have Intimidate, which will apply 1 weak to all enemies, and again that makes them deal less damage for that turn, and then it goes away. The nice thing about this though is it is 0 cost, so you know, you just get this 1 turn where you make all the enemies weaker, but then it goes away. So I don't know, Warcry seems like it can have some interesting uses, but I think let's just go for the pure damage right now with this Twin Strike. Alright, and then on to the Bonfire. So here you get a choice of 2 things. We could rest and recover 30%, so it's 30% of your max HP, which is 24. Seems a shame when we've only lost 4 HP. So let's do the other option, which is Smith, and that lets us upgrade a card in our deck. So we saw the upgrades for Strike and Defend, as well as Bash last time. Let me see, for Twin Strike, we would get 7 damage twice, which is very nice. And Inflame would give us 3 strength, which is really powerful. So I'm really torn between Inflame and Bash. Getting the 3 vulnerable is also very useful, as well as the damage increase. Let's do Inflame this time, and maybe next time we'll do the Bash, unless we have better choices. So on to the next encounter with the enemy. Alright, so we could get the Inflame right away, and I think I'll do that just because we don't have any, unfortunately again, any cards that block, and so we're going to eat 12 points of damage. So we might as well get as strong as we can long term. And now the question is, should we do this, 11 damage and 2 vulnerable, or 16 worth of damage? And it's a tough one. I kind of want to do, I think we should just try to focus on killing the weakest enemy, and this way we won't have to eat as much damage. And then the nice thing about this is, in addition to doing 16, it only costs 1 mana, so we could actually kill this beast right now. So, great. So right now, we do get, instead of 6, which was the attack that was here before, it is going to be 9, because when we killed this, it had the Spore effect, which makes us vulnerable for 2 turns, but still, getting 9 instead of 12 damage is a lot better, so I'm still happy with that choice. Alright. So it's going to do 9 again. We could do 12, 30 points of damage, and so that's it. Nothing more to think about. We'll just randomly pick a card, and there we go. And so a good defense was achieved with good offense. We prevented getting even more damage by killing the enemies pretty quickly. We get our first potion. Not a great potion. This one lets us draw 3 cards. There's potions that give you extra strength, extra dexterity, which improves your block. There's ones that apply poison. There are straight bombs. I think one that does 20 and one that does 10 to all of the enemies. But anyway, this may come in handy. We can carry up to 3, and you could use them at any time during the battle. So we'll save this for a rainy day. Now for our next cards, Berserk lets us, if our HP is at or below 50%, we would gain an energy at the start of each turn. Now getting more energy, as you see, or mana as I keep calling it, is very, very useful. This will only kick in once our HP is quite a bit lower, but that will happen, especially when we're facing pretty big monsters. And this is also a gold card, which means that it's supposed to be like a higher class of card. So I think we'll probably go with this. Thunderclap, 4 damage, 1 vulnerable to all enemies, pretty useful. And Shockwave does just 3 weak and 3 vulnerable to all enemies, and you could use it just 1 time in each battle. Honestly, they're all excellent. This won't see any. This won't give us any immediate advantage, but I think I like having it. But if we have it in our deck, it'll sort of clog things up. We'll see it sometimes, and we'd rather see a different card there. All right, let's just pick it anyway, sort of thinking for the long term, and hopefully that was the right thing to do. All right, another unknown encounter. You come across an inconspicuous pedestal with a shining gold idol sitting peacefully atop. It looks incredibly valuable. You sure don't see any traps nearby. So we could take it, we get this golden idol. As far as I know, all it does is, for each encounter where we get gold, it gives us 25% more gold, which we could use at a shop, but it will trigger a trap, which will give us, I think, a choice of 3 different bad things that happen to us, or we could leave it alone. Let's take it. Who knows what could happen. So we could either, as you grab the idol and stow it away, a giant boulder smashes through the ceiling into the ground next to you. You realize that the floor is slanted downwards as the boulder starts to roll towards you. We try to outrun it, and we become cursed with this injury card, which is sort of this, again, this like pretty bad card that's just in our deck, clogging things up. Our deck is pretty small, so it's only 16 cards, so it'd be pretty bad to have a card that does nothing. We could just take 16 points of damage. HP is important, but we're gonna take damage anyway. It's renewable in theory, so this might be a good choice. Or we could lose 4 max HP and just be capped at 76. None of these are good choices. Let's just take the 16 damage. My reason for this is hopefully we'll be strong enough to beat the first boss, and then after that's done we'll have full health anyway, and if our HP gets too low, we do have a campfire before the main boss, so we could use it getting our HP up. So you throw yourself at the boulder with everything you have. When the dust clears, you can make a safe way out, and so we're down to 57 HP. And we get our first treasure, and this will be some, so this is the golden idol. Enemies drop 25% more gold. So we're going to get another one of these in our treasure chest here. So let's hope for something good. Calipers. Calipers are pretty bad. Pretty bummed about getting that. So at the start of our turn, typically the block completely disappears. It's just there for that turn. But what this does is, instead of losing all of the block, we lose 15 block. Now, for all practical purposes, we're rarely going to get more than 15 blocks, so I don't think we'll see much use for this, but as the game goes on, we might craft our deck in a way to have more block, and maybe just try to tank, get more and more block each turn, and see if that'll help us. So, pretty disappointing. Now, the next enemy is an elite, and besides being much stronger, and we'll probably lose a lot of health in these encounters, if we win, the nice thing is it does drop another relic, so it is nice to get that, but we just have to survive and hopefully not be completely crippled in terms of health. Alright, first turn, this guy is going to do a buff, so we can just go all out and try to hit it with everything we have. The Inflame will give us more strength, and it's nice that we got this right away. We could do Twin Strike for 16, makes a lot of sense, and 9 more with regular strike, so he's down to 60 points already, so pretty good so far. So let's see what this guy's buff does. Alright, Enrage. So, Enrage, whenever you play a skill card, whenever I play a skill card, this enemy will gain 2 strength. So, skill cards are usually the defense, so if we were trying to block with 5, this will make the enemy stronger. Instead of having 14, he'll get +2 to all of his attacks for the remainder of this battle. So it's a pretty scary situation. Our block, instead of blocking for 5, would really be blocking for 3. effectively this turn, we would still get 11 points of damage, and all future turns this enemy will be stronger. So I'm going to avoid using defense, and we'll just try to beat him down as quickly as possible. So let's go ahead and do that. And we'll use this Berserk, why not? Right now we're still above 40 HP, but if we do get below that, which we might very soon, if we take a beating, then we'll have more energy and we'll hopefully finish things even faster. So we're going to eat 14, we're down to 43 health, not too good. Alright, the double tap will let our next attack be played twice, so what we could do is we could do double tap, deal 22 points of damage, as well as make the enemy vulnerable for 4 turns. Or we could do maybe bash and headbutt, and then recover maybe the bash. That looks pretty good too. I don't know, just the idea of making the enemy more vulnerable though sounds pretty good, so let's go ahead and do that. Ooh, or we could do headbutt twice, that'll do 24 damage right there, and then we could do 9 more and 33. Or we could do defend and eat less damage. So many choices. Let's do headbutt twice. I think that actually makes more sense. And let's get our twin strike back. Really what we're looking for is just trying to kill this enemy as quickly as possible. We could try to get another strike back, or the headbutt makes more sense. And let's do strike. Alright, so we just need 9 more points in damage. We're going to eat 8, unfortunately. And whatever the debuff does made us vulnerable. And now we're below 40, so actually we have 4 bits of energy. Not that it matters, because we can just do this, and the enemy's dead. We're up to 41. So we got 35 gold. What's in parentheses is, I think, the extra, the 25 extra, so we really got 44. That makes sense. We went from 63 to 107. We got an explosive potion, which does 10 damage to all enemies. And I think so far we've only faced single enemies, but you can have encounters where there are 2, 3, or even more enemies at the same time. So this is very useful. This is a very good potion. Toxic Egg. Upon pickup, choose and upgrade a skill. So all this relic does is lets us upgrade 1 skill card. Honestly, not that good, but let's see. We could make the double tap do our next 2 attacks are played twice. That seems pretty powerful. Or we could make one of these defends from 5 to 8. I think this will have more impact, so let's go ahead and do that. And we get an additional card. I guess if I was playing optimally, I would have picked the card first, because in theory you could have upgraded one of these guys. And this another armaments card, or the Spurting Pact, which basically for 1 mana we can draw 2 cards and get rid of 1 card, which could be useful. Seeing low, deal 12 damage, and this particular card can be upgraded repeatedly. So all the other cards, you can only upgrade them once, and that's it. But this one, I think, goes from 12 damage to 16 to 20. It's still 2 mana for 12 damage, isn't that useful? Maybe if we keep upgrading it, it'll have some value, but for now, I don't know, or armaments. Yeah, I think this is good. This gives us the block, which I think we need, and it lets us upgrade, and we can upgrade it so that it upgrades every card in our hand instead of a single card. So I think it has potential. Let's go ahead and do that. Alright, our next encounter is with a regular enemy, and again, our health, we're just a hair above 40, so we're only going to get 3 energy for this first round, but I think pretty soon we'll be in trouble. So we could get 10 points of damage, so we could block all of that, and then deal 9. I think that makes a lot of sense. This enemy, what it does is each turn it hits us, it'll steal 15 gold. And I think after a few turns, maybe 4, 5, or 6 turns, it'll disappear, sort of take our gold and run away. So if we want to keep our gold, we want to kill him as quickly as possible. The alternative is we can just sort of let him get away and you know, he could take some for gold, but our health is more important. So let's do this. Let's prioritize killing his slime buddy, and then if we're able to do that in time, then we'll focus in on him. But for now, I think my goal is just to try not to get damaged. The slime made us frail, so what that does is our blocks are less effective, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. We could upgrade all of the cards in our hand. So right now we could get 6 points of defense, 9 with this. I wonder if we upgrade, yeah, because this card also does, gives us 3 blocks, so that makes a lot of sense. The double tap only works on attacks, and we didn't have any attacks this time around. Let's defend for 12. Alright, so again, we're going to absorb this damage. I'll probably get frail again from the slime. As long as we're not getting, you know, losing health, it's okay. We can sort of tread water here for a little bit. Alright, so now the slime will do 8 as well as a negative effect. Oh, right, we don't get the extra energy unless we have the Berserk card played anyway. Looks like this turn we're gonna get... We do 8 points of damage and vulnerable, so I'll be down to 15, and then we could do 9 and 9. Alright, that... Oh no, we don't have enough mana to do that. I wonder if it's best then to just do Bash and then Berserk and take advantage of the extra health, or Bash and Defend and try to limit the damage. No good choices. Alright, we can go down, get this guy down to 6, eat 8 points of damage, or... Yeah, I think that makes sense. The Berserk, I don't think it'll help us that much. We won't need the extra energy. I mean, it'd be nice to have, but once we kill this guy off, this guy will probably retreat pretty soon, and that'll be the end of this this fight. Alright, so we're down to 33 health. We have our Inflame here. So this means he's going to escape, and that's fine. We can't do 50 points of damage to him. Let's at least kill this guy, just for fun. Yeah, there's no way, even if we had all of the mana to be able to kill. So let's just do this, and we'll just play Defend. And he's going to escape with, I think, 45 bits of gold, which is unfortunate, but at least we have our health. And we did get 24 gold for killing the slime, so we didn't lose too much. Alright, for our next card, back to Strike. Now this will deal 6 points of damage, and an additional 2 for all the ones that have Strike, so that could be useful. Cleave will deal 7 to all enemies. I think it'd be nice to have some more cards that do multi-unit damage. Or at the end of your turn, you lose 1 HP and you deal 4 damage to all enemies. I'd rather not lose HP, so let's go with Cleave. And now we have a choice. We're at a fork. We could either go random encounter or regular enemy. If we go this way, we fight 3 more regular enemies, then we get to the bonfire and fight the big boss for this floor. Or we can go maybe question mark, bonfire, question mark, bonfire. This way we'll have more of an opportunity to heal, and if our health is really good, we can even consider upgrading a card. So I think we'll go this way. This makes more sense to me. Alright, and this is an encounter with 3 enemies. Hopefully we'll get the that card that deals damage to everything. Now, so we're going to eat 15 points of damage. We could do this and deal 10 to an enemy, and with the Inflame it would deal 16. Let's look at our potions. This lets us draw more cards. I don't think there's that much useful. I mean, we could get, again, this deals 7 to everything, but that's not going to kill anything immediately. We could do this and deal 10 to everything right away and try to with the Twin Strike kill, you know, or we could do, alright, you know, it's a lot of, let's use all of our, let's use all of our potions. So let's draw 3 more cards. Alright, we got some strikes, which is what I was looking for. Let's do the explosive potion. Alright. And these enemies, upon taking damage, they'll curl up and they'll get like extra bonus. So you have to be careful about hitting them. And it's only on taking attack damage, so using the potion doesn't get them to curl up. So really what we can do now, we have 3 mana. We could do a strike and a strike to kill both of these. And we could do twin strikes and kill this guy. So let's do that. And this way we won't take any damage. And live to fight another day. So in fact, we gained health from this encounter. Now, we ended up having to use 2 potions, but that's what they're there for. I'd rather use the potions than lose health. So we could get another cleave, another series. Oh, our first series. Let's go with the cleave. Be nice to have those cards in our deck. And now we can go here, and so we can rest for 24 HP. That'll bring us up to 69. Or use the Smith. Now, it might be silly, but I think I'm going to use the Smith first, and we'll reserve the last bonfire to rest. I think it's really important to make sure that you have a good deck, and the stronger your deck is, the less damage that you'll take, just because you'll kill the enemies that much quicker. So this one will be a 0 cost if your HP is below. Could be useful, again, maybe not immediately useful, but probably by the time we face the boss, our health will go low. So, but let's just leave that alone for now. The cleaves can do 10 to all enemies, sort of like that potion that we had. I think that's very worthwhile, to be honest. Yeah, so let's go ahead and make one of these cleaves deal 10. Hopefully we'll be lucky enough to get that when it counts. We could face a regular enemy, or get one of these unknowns. Let's go for the unknown. You walk into a room to find a large hole in the ground. As you approach the hole, an enormous serpent creature appears from within. Ho-hoo! Hello, hello! What have we got here? Hello, adventurer. I ask a simple question. The most fulfilling of lives is that in which you can buy anything. Do you agree? So we can agree we would get 175 gold, bring us up to 295, but get this curse, and it's pretty bad. Not only is it unplayable, but at the end of the turn that we draw it, we would get 1 week, which would, allow us, or force us rather, to deal less damage. We could disagree and nothing happens. I think I will disagree. This is sort of worth it if we go to a shop. One of the things that the shop does is it removes cards. And it costs 75 gold to remove a single card from your deck, and so overall we'd be making 100 gold on this deal, but until we get to that shop, we would be sort of carrying this doubt card. Now, our deck now is a bit bigger. There are 19 cards, so with this in, we'd see this doubt less often. Tough decision. Or we could just say no and, be on our merry way. Let's say yes. Let's play risky. The gold can be very helpful. Besides using 75 of it to get rid of the doubt card, you could buy some relics like these from the shop, and you can buy additional cards from the shop. So having gold is useful, and yes, this will all be worth it. We'll see about that. So the serpent rears its head and lasts a stream of gold upwards. It is amazing and terrifying simultaneously. You gather all the gold, thank the snake, and get going. Hopefully that wasn't a poor decision. Alright, and with our last, I am tempted to do the smith again, just to sort of play dangerously. The only thing that this health will get us is 24 more health for the boss fight. Now if we lose the boss fight, we lose the game. But if we, defeat the boss, we get all of our health back anyway. So the question is having this extra 24 health really worth it? And I think the answer is no. So let's go with the smith. Let's upgrade the other cleave. I think that might come in handy. And let's play a little dangerously and see if we could defeat the boss with just 45 health. So this boss I faced before is probably one of the weaker bosses, so I think we might be in good luck. What it does is, one of its special abilities is if its health gets 50% or less, it will split into two smaller slimes that have that exact health. So it having 140 health is pretty deceptive. We'll have to do a lot more damage than that to kill it. But the good news is, the turn that you get it below 50% health, it'll cancel whatever attack or whatever it's going to plan. It'll instead split for that turn. So it's not that bad. I think it's worth getting this inflame up quickly so we have more strength for the rest of the fight. This will deal 13 damage to all enemies, even though there's just one right now. Certainly better than, and I think we do want to defend to try to, limit the damage that we get right now. So let's do this. Let's do this. This doubt is horrible. It's going to make us weak the next turn and deal less damage. Luckily, it's only for one turn. Hopefully, we'll be able to survive that without too much trouble. We also have this potion that gives us 2 energy, so if the time is right, we will use that. So I'm not sure what it's going to do this turn, but it's not attacking, so we don't need to waste defend cards. So really, let's just do armaments. Let's upgrade the Twin Strike so it deals even more damage. And that's it. I mean, we can put it for fun, but it's not going to be attacking us this turn. So it would have gone better if we didn't have the weak. We would have dealt a little bit more damage. And it's going to deal 35 damage this turn. Wow. Alright, so this will deal 13, this will deal 9. We could double tap the 13 and the 9 actually, so this will deal twice. Now the only downside is we'll get hit for 35 and end up with 6 HP. I wonder if it's worth... Well, let's do this first, because we're definitely going to do this. And we're definitely going to do this. Now, if we take the potion, we'll deal 9 more points of... Oh! We just went to 69 health, which is under 50%. And so now, instead of dealing all that damage to us, the enemy will split. It's going to split into 2 slimes that have 69 health, which is unfortunate. It would be nicer if we could get even lower. But is it nice? Is it important enough that we waste this potion? We might need it. Let's hold off for a second. So now, instead of attacking us for 35, we're going to see 2 69 slimes that also have the ability to split when they become too low. All right. Let's see here. We could... Okay, hear me out. So we have... Let's see. We have 1, 2, 5 points. So this might be a good place to use our potion. Now, I think we'll only really need 4, because once we use this armaments card, the Berserk will become 0 cost. But still, I'd rather use everything that we have here and just try to do as much damage as we can. So let's use this first. This will give us 5 block. These cards will be upgraded for the rest of the fight, which is terrific. And, right, so we can use this right away. Let's pop this extra energy, so we can use both. And we'll do the bash attack first, because that will make the slime vulnerable, and this will deal even more damage. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, if we can get the slime to, let's see, what's half of 69, 34.5. So if we get it to 34, it will, it'll split instead of attacking us. And we just managed to do it, and we can get a single card back. The bash is useful, the cleaves are useful, the twin strikes are useful. Let's go with the cleave for now. I think the cleave might be the most useful. Because this is going to split again, and then we can deal more damage to our enemies. So, great. So we're not going to get hit with all that damage, which is great. I think when it splits, this vulnerable goes away, which is unfortunate, but... and this licked us, made us frail, so the blocks will be less effective, but that's okay. So for this turn, and these guys don't split anymore, so if we get this to 17, it's not going to split. So we're probably going to get, this 10 damage, and that's okay because once we get to 40, we'll have an extra energy for the rest of the fight, so I think that's fine. So let's do this. Let's block for 3, so we get hit for 7. Well, we're gonna do this no matter what, so let's take care of that. These will do 18 points of damage. They won't kill this slime, so I think the right move then is to try to, we'll make it weaker. We'll make one of them weaker, and let's try to absorb and stay alive a little bit more. Alright, so we're down to 34, so now we'll have 4 energy moving forward. And we're frail for a few more turns, so blocking isn't as effective. Alright, so 4 energy. This will upgrade all cards in your hand for the rest of the combat. I think it's worth it. These can't get upgraded anymore, I don't think. Oh dear. I wish I had done... well, I guess we couldn't have done more damage. So let's see what we're facing here. This 16 will go away if we could get this health down to 34, which would take quite a bit more. It would take 22 points of damage. We only have 9 to work with. Alright, so I think we're doomed. This will do 33 points of damage, so we won't die this turn, but and we can defend some of it away. Is it worth striking this? I think so, because we want to kill it next turn. And let's just take 12 block. Alright, so not a great turn, but it is what it is. We will eat a lot of damage. Now, again, all we need to do is survive, but it is looking increasingly unlikely, to be honest. So, this is going to deal 10 damage, so the top priority is to try to kill this slime if we can. We could do the double tap and deal 40 points of damage, essentially. So hold on a second. Or we could do double tap and deal 26 to all, so that'll kill both of these slime. And then we could wail on this guy. This is great. So let's do the double tap. We could do 13 to all. Now, if we do this, there we go. This will split. So if we hit it again, it'll be... well, if we just hit it with this, it'll die. So let's do that. Alright, and that's it. And so we did gamble. We recovered 6 health, but once we're done with the screen, we will have beaten the boss for this floor, and we'll recover all of our health up to 80. So even though it was a little bit dicey there for a second, we did manage to succeed. Let's take our gold, let's take our dexterity potion, and let's take our golden card. Lose 5 HP to gain 2 energy, draw 3 cards. You know, in a sticky situation, this might be worthwhile. So let's not dismiss it out of hand. The Juggernaut, whenever you gain block, you deal 3 damage to an enemy. It does cost 2, pretty expensive. And the Feed card, it deals 10 damage, and if that kills the enemy, we gain 3 permanent max HP. That seems amazing. Now we just have to get the, we have to time it right to use this card appropriately, and exhaust, so we can only use it once each combat. I still think the potential upside is huge with this, so let's go ahead and pick that. And now, this is the most important part, which is the relic for beating the boss. Now, this will sort of make or break our run. What's in this chest? What we're looking for is an item that'll give us more energy. All the items that give more energy come with a downside, and I'm willing to take pretty much any item that does that just because it's so powerful to have that extra energy all the time. So let's see what we have here. Black Blood replaces Burning Blood, so at the end of each combat, instead of getting 6 HP, we'll get 10. It's pretty interesting. Max HP is lowered by 20%, and whenever we lose HP, we draw a card. I'm not really interested in that. And this one, the elite enemies will drop 2 relics instead of 1. I think we're doomed because there's really no way to win if you don't have that extra energy. The next, the next enemies that we face are going to be so strong that we really need that extra bit of energy. But let's not give up yet. Let's take this black blood. I do like increasing the amount we gain at the end of each round. Maybe if we're strong enough, we can, not lose a lot of HP. And if we do lose, more than half, and we have that power active, we will get a little bit of extra energy for that battle. This is interesting too. It'll make us sort of seek out the elites more because it'll drop more relics for us. But elites are dangerous, so you don't want to really face them to begin with, and especially with just the 3 energy. And this runic cube, I mean, I guess you could make a build where it really relies on you drawing a lot of cards, but I'm not interested in reducing my HP by 20%. We don't have the energy. Even if we were to draw a lot of cards, we don't have the energy to do it. So let's go ahead and pick Black Blood, and that'll be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like this video. Tune in next time for the next floor, where we will face much more difficult enemies. Hopefully we'll be able to survive. I think our odds are low, but we'll see. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.